Yo, you are watching Rear Naked Chat. We are about to do a review of The Ultimate Fighter 16, Episode 4, Carwin versus Nelson. Did I get that right?
I think so. I think so. It's
Yeah,
Roy Carwin versus Shane Nelson.
That's right. I do get a little bit confused with the episodes because I have, to memory, watched pretty much every episode of The Ultimate Fighter ever.
Yeah, man.
Just like getting up to 18 seasons nearly now.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, in that time, I've seen a lot of different coaching styles, different employment of tactics. Some coaches are really, strategic. Some are a little bit more laissez-faire. Never seen one draw straws to decide who's going to fight, though. What did you think of that?
I just think he's such a negative guy, right? We're going to see this more and more, this kind of thing. That even the way of picking the fight, it's like, how much of a bad connotation is if you happen to draw the short straw? It's like you already feel like you lost.
Psychologically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
That's mental.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, to play devil's advocate, I can kind of see that he's coming from, like, I've got, this is a really hard thing for me to do. Actually, the fact that he thinks it's a hard thing to do means he's a lazy bastard. He just doesn't want to go through the process of trying to decide. So he's just like, fuck it, let's do it. I was trying to be on Roy Nelson's side there, but I'm like, nah, there's no logical way to do it, really.
I think,
like you said, the psychology of it.
Yeah.
The fact that Julian Lane already got picked last, to then draw the short straw, added to the fact that he's not the sharpest tool in the box anyway, is he?
God.
He's not going to be able to process that too well.
If my notes on this episode were an essay, that essay would be called "How Stupid is Julian Lane?"
Yeah.
Get a fucking A for it, because that's all I've talked about.
That's it. I mean, like I say, I've watched every season of this, and at this point now, you can tell the signs where somebody is just there to be on TV.
Definitely. He just wants to look like a fighter.
Yes, he wants that image of being an Ultimate Fighter.
Did you see his fucking shorts that he wore?
In the fight?
You may not even picked up on this, right?
I don't think I did.
You normally have to wear, because it's very insightful what you just said, because normally you have to wear your your team's shorts, teammate shorts. He had his own pair of like GSP style trunks on that he'd written Julian Lane in pen clearly on his arse and across his waist.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, I didn't even pick up on that.
That's what I'm saying. For him, this was his UFC fight. That's it. Once I have this fight, that's it. It's done.
Yeah, man. Although, we'll cover some more of that a bit later. But to begin with, considering he was allowed to pick whoever he wanted, I was very disappointed by him not picking Matt Secor.
Yeah.
After all the shit that's gone down in the house.
Yeah. So point one, he's definitely
pussy.
Stupid.
Well, not only that, but he'd had all that talk and all that fucking, I can't wait to knock you out, blah, 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 all the general beef in the house. And it's like, right now, here's your chance to step up and shut this guy up who's talking shit to you. Didn't want to.
No, instead takes the harder opponent.
Yeah, the hardest, probably.
Yeah, the hardest one on their team, probably.
Yeah. Which is very strange. Then you had this whole not making weight thing.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Which again to me was like, I think he was looking for excuses already.
Yeah.
We can get to that a little bit shortly.
Oh
now.
no, it was Stool who had trouble making the weight, didn't he?
Yeah, but Julian Lane was the one who went to Roy Nelson. Oh, he's not 170.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end.
And then Roy Nelson kind of just ignored it, just went, whatever, which was a bit odd. So we'll get back round to that.
The thing is, Julian Lane, he looked shit even in training. Like, just sparring, he looked like even in sparring he loses every time. Just like,
he had no cardio.
Yeah.
Wasn't responding to what Roy Nelson was telling him.
Yeah, in fact, it's the clip I've got this for this episode, the clip of the week.
Because I will say this. Even though Nelson and his team do come across as just a very
amateur bunch,
amateur and ghetto setup, they do know what they're talking about. Like, the advice they were giving him, I thought was good. Talking about, you've got 2 octagons here. We need you to stop stepping back to the cage.
Yeah.
which he just kept doing.
Yeah, in fact,
When Roy
that's
does
the exact clip I've got where they're explaining that to him.
go on.
Like that viewer should try and pick out here is how basic a training lesson is this. This is what you'd expect if you first walked in for the first time to learn MMA.
Yes.
Oh, I can't see myself. All right. Clip of the week.
And I think that's where Julian's at. He
There you
just
go,
didn't
that's
quite
it.
trust what we're actually saying. So it was one of those things like, I told you, if you listen, we'll be in a better spot. Instead of just standing there, that's all you did was stand there. Just move.
Rule of thumb.
No, but not right back. Who cares if it's this one or this one?
You got two octagons here. We got the cage and we got this right here.
Yeah, but
when
if
I'm
you
on this, I know I got one step back and I'm on the cage.
Right, but if you move over here, it's the same. If you move over there, it's the same thing. You got to get in there.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is go back where you were. Throw a kick. Boom.
There you go.
Back on the inside of the octagon.
Simple
You
as
had to
that,
tell him, that's it, throw a kick and walk forward. That's
And
fighting,
now
mate.
look.
That's fighting.
Yeah, you're in there. You got into the bit where you're supposed to fight.
Now you're fighting, mate.
Well, I think, in his defence, I think that the point of that training was to keep him off the cage.
Yeah.
They didn't want Bristol having him up against the cage and dirty boxing him. Which, as it turned out, was exactly what happened.
Yeah,
in the fight.
because he puts himself against the cage.
I know.
I love the way he said it as well, where Julian Lane, after that clip, goes, I seem to be learning a few things. And I just liked his choice of words. I seem to be learning. Like, it's the first time that's happened. I think I just learned something.
Yeah, I've never been through this before, but I think I'm taking on information.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
And again, Roy Nelson's team, again, with that they're slightly negative in their language when they're in the room warming up and the guy doing the punching mitts with him just goes to him, hurt me, I'm old. It's like not exactly inspiring confidence in Lane.
No. The thing is, you've got to know your guy as well, because I think there's certain people
Who would,
respond well to that kind of thing. But I think it's pretty obvious that Julian Lane isn't one of those types.
Don't say that to the last pick, man.
You need to pump him up. You need to get him really confident, because he's not the type, I think, who, if are going well, he can't mentally dig himself out of that hole.
No.
You've got to hold him up there to begin with, So
it's like some people have a weakness on the ground, some in striking. Well, Julian Lane's weakness is in his head.
Yeah, and in by the look of things as well, because
it is an intelligent sport, though. I was really thinking about this fighting. It can look like what it looks like, but it is a thinking man's game, man.
Definitely,
it's like
physical
it's
chess.
Basically. Yeah, it's chess with a human body, and the chin is the king, and like when you get submitted, it's basically checkmate.
Yeah, that's it. All knocked out.
Yeah,
it's true. But as I mentioned in the Smashes review, there is a bit of a pattern on the Ultimate Fighter of guys not really wanting to go for it. And I think we saw that in the first round. Definitely, Bristol Marunde just had him up against the cage, dirty boxing, standing grappling.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fast forwarding while I was watching this fight, to be honest.
I was thinking, can you imagine if this was on a pay-per-view? You paid money for that.
Yeah, pissed. I mean, it was kind of when they broke, it was kind of exciting where they were swinging. Julian caught him with a nice knee actually in the face.
Yeah.
A few little exchanges, but then it was just Bristol just got him back up against the cage and held him there, and
It's like he was walking backwards saying, yeah, come on, just beat me up. And then when he was nearly knocked out, he'd start to fight back.
Yeah.
It was quite exciting, but it just didn't happen enough. And there was never really going to be any success. It was so wild.
Little short bursts. Yeah, exactly. The second round, I mean, wasn't a lot of anything for what I could tell.
It's the same,
really.
man. It was the same, but slower, more tired from both
There wasn't
parties.
as much grappling, but instead of the grappling and dirty boxing, it was just standing. They were just standing, looking at each other. Really, Justin Lane did a bit of running. Julian Lane, excuse me.
The bit that stood out in the second round for me was the bit where Roy Nelson kept shouting, "You got to fight," and it's like, what advice is that? That's like a teacher just going into a classroom and just yelling, "Learn,
Yeah,
learn."
you got to be a bit more specific than that, right?
Yeah.
Got to fight. How exactly do you want me to fight? I mean,
Yeah, last week he was being very specific by actually putting the move on his coach and saying, like this, like this.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
today he went the other way.
I think he knew. I think he knew Julian Lane was. I think no matter what he said, it wasn't going to sink in. To be honest,
Yeah.
so he was just trying to just do something for fuck's sake. But interestingly, then after the fight, Roy Nelson went up and complained about.
What
He
did
didn't
you
make
make of that? What did you make of that?
Well, first of all, they showed that as a preview last week.
Yes.
So straight away, I was like, right, if he's complaining about that after the fight,
Yeah.
clearly it's because his fighter lost.
Yeah.
If Julian Lane had won, he wouldn't have gone up to Dana and said the other guy didn't make weight.
Obviously, it was
So-
just the worst reaction ever.
So, yeah, they kind of spoiled me a bit there, the TUF editing team. But yeah, as Dana White clearly pointed out, if you had a problem with it at the time, you should have just fucking said it.
Yeah.
Then and there. Like, what's your problem? Like,
And
what
I
good
love
is you
the
telling me
threat
this
that
now?
he used as well. It was so I can see why Dana can't stand him, because Roy Nelson did not have to go up to him and say, "So should I make sure the commission's doing their job?" Or like that was so bad.
Just passive aggressive.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, make your point. You're making a nothing point here. There's nothing he can do about it.
There's no
nothing
point to
you
be
can do.
made, and you're going to go tell the commission about nothing.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know what that was all about. I don't know. He's a strange one, Roy Nelson, but makes for an entertaining show.
It does, and like, my conclusion here. I mean, we spent the whole show talking about the guy who lost, so I mean, it was entertaining in a way. But my final notes that I've written is conclusion: Julian Lane is a bit mental,
Yeah.
and then it was like cut to next week.
What's that breakdown about at the end where he just
Oh,
starts
God,
crying, saying, "I've got no money."
I've already shown a clip. Do you want to see that?
Of him.
Yeah, well,
Same
basically,
clip.
yeah, of
No, I'm talking about him crying at the
yeah,
end.
yeah, that
Like,
one. Going, I got no money, man.
Yeah. What? Yeah,
That was the weirdest reaction to losing a fight, because there was nothing about was talking about his financial situation, and that was it.
But that's the weird thing as well. For someone who, okay, this is your shot to make some money. You're broke. You've got kids to feed. This is your big chance in life. Why were you not wanting to train when he said, like, you need to do another round on those things? And he's going, "Oh, I'm too tired. Like, there's a disconnect there. It's like, not too sure you realise what it takes.
I don't think we've seen the best of Julian Lane / worst of Julian Lane yet.
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my conclusion was just dumbass.
Yep. That sums it up.
That's all I think. Whenever he's talking, I'm just sitting there going, dumbass.
Just not a good advert for fighters. I wouldn't want him anywhere in MMA really, because he's basically too stupid.
Yes. No offense, but yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, we did focus all on him and Roy Nelson really, but a lot of that's also because Shane Carwin, it gives you nothing, and Bristol Morunde's a pretty straight down the line dude as well, really. So
Yeah, he's just very intense.
they're there to get the job done, and that's what they did. So it doesn't really give us much to talk about. To be honest. And other than all that, we had the Shameless movie promotion in the middle of the episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Where the editors of the show, I love the way they left that bit in where Dana's walking in. Yeah, get whatever you want from the concession stand. Yeah. It's like, yo, big bucks from Dana there.
He's a baller.
Yeah, make it 16 again, large popcorns, please.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, okay, fair enough. They want to plug a movie, but you got to do a lot to impress me after TUF Brazil and their product placement. It's like, yeah, whatever, mate. Just do your little shameless movie plug and let's get on with the show. Like,
if that was in TUF Brazil, they would have been reenacting the scene from the film in the house with the fighters.
Kevin James would have come into the house, I reckon. Or the equivalent, the Brazilian equivalent.
Yeah.
Grappling.
Oh God, the Brazilian equivalent of Kevin James.
I
can only imagine. It's the same guy, just in some swimming trunks, and he's he's very friendly.
He's a lot happier. Yeah, yeah. That about sums it up, I think, for this week.
So again, if you're watching or subscribing, thank you very much. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the feedback. Keep it coming.
Yeah.
RearNakedChat@gmail.com. Rear Naked channel on YouTube, and hit us up on Twitter.